Okay, recording is started.
Here we are. Yes. I think we'll are ready to kick off. Let's see if we get more people joining that will run it. We'll start anyways, yes. With the karakia, just so that we all arrive to the same space. Kote kawaorunga, kote kawauraro, kote kawaura, kote kawaura. Erongo, whakairihia kirunga, turuturu o whiti whakamauakia, tina, tina, huie.
Taike.
Kia ora, e te whanau no Järvenpää, ki Whinarana ahau, kei Kirikiriroa ahau e noho ana, ko milla inkilä toku ingoa. I'm a postgraduate director here at the Academy EX at the Mind Lab, as we were used to call it. Now it's the name of the faculty, and especially work for the Digital and Collaborative Learning program. So greetings from Hamilton tonight, but yes, originally all the way from Finland.
Kia ora tātou, ko te toko ingoa no Ingarangi aho, ke Green Hive aho e noho ana. He kaitohu rangahau Academy EX, taku turanga mahi, ko Jenny Rato, ko Kate Koabi, ako tamahi ne. So I'm Dave, as you probably know already, and I'm Research Director at Academy EX, and I come from the UK, but I currently live in Green Hive, and those are my three daughters.
Kia ora, ko hunua te paro, ko waura te awa no Waikawo aho, ko Whittington Slater tōku whānau, ko Lisa tōku ingoa, tēnā tātou katoa. Beautiful to see you all. Ka pai for joining us tonight.
Hello, my name is Mason. I'm quite new in Academy EX. I'm from Hong Kong originally. I've been really grateful to be able to learn a lot from New Zealand, and hopefully I can contribute a bit more by recruiting more international students to Academy EX to experience your experience as a student here in the coming months, perhaps. To really upskill ourselves to another level and experience some new life after that. Thank you.
Beautiful. And we also have a couple of student representatives. We have Elsie there. Kia ora. Do you want to tell anything about yourself, Elsie? Who you are, where you come from?
Kia ora kei te katoa, ko Asi toko ingoa. I'm at LEC here in Hamilton at Fraser High School, and I thoroughly enjoyed my experience with DCL. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Elsie, and thanks for joining. So you get your real student experiences. You get to ask things from Elsie, and Sarah is the other one there. Kia ora.
Kia ora, ko Sarah Takawangoa no Waihopa aho. So I'm down here in Invercargill, and I'm a recent graduate of the DCL program as well for this year.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining. First, a bit of housekeeping things, and then we'll give you an overview of the program. And then, yes, some students, so Elsie and Sarah are here to share about their experiences. And if you have any questions could be in particular for Elsie and Sarah from a student point of view, or for us, for example, me, Dave, or Maisen, or Lisa, we are here to answer your questions too. We'll show at the end how to apply if you are ready for that. Some of you might have already applied and you're here to learn, like, what did I sign up for? We'll try to keep it within 1 hour, and before we do the closing karakia. Could be even quicker. We'll see. We'll record this session. There's a couple of you, thankfully. Joanna brilliant that you joined too, since I know that there's a lot of people who have RSVP'd, but then many people also know that when they RSVP, they get the recording. So kia ora to all of you that are viewing the recording. Hopefully Flora and Joanna will ask some good questions. You'll be now representing our future students. Perhaps we'll also share the slide deck. So we'll link that as an email for you also tomorrow with the recording. If you have any questions, please ask, but we'll have that specific questions and answers Q&A at the end of the session. And lovely if you can have your videos on, that would be brilliant. Could be that there's internet connection or something that doesn't allow that. So that's totally fine. But yeah, nice if we can see you when we are talking to you, but not necessary. We understand. Could be that you are cooking your dinner at the same time as listening to us. So all good, all good. Dave, over to you.
Yes, over to me. Yes. So this is primarily an information session about the one in the middle, which is the postgraduate certificate in digital and collaborative learning. But it is part of a slightly larger set of options that we have. So to avoid confusion, perhaps it's worth me mentioning these things as well, and maybe where the certificate is positioned here. On the left-hand side, we've got a micro-credential, which is just 15 credits, and it's got a very similar title, which is Digital and Collaborative Teaching and Learning micro-credential. And actually, that's kind of equivalent to about a quarter of the certificate and is actually cross-creditable into the main certificate. I don't want to talk about that in any detail today, but you may see that on the website and wonder why there's these two things with very similar titles. But as you can see, it's shorter, it's online, self-paced, and it's just 15 credits. The certificate is 60 credits, 37 weeks part-time, and it's mostly online, or if you want, it can be fully online. So it's either blended, and the blended part is we have 2 occasions during the program where you can come into our Auckland HQ and spend a day learning with others face-to-face and doing more hands-on things. But if you're a long way from Auckland or it's difficult to attend face-to-face, you can actually study fully online. And so that's completely optional. You don't have to make a choice in advance. You just enroll for the program and you can do it either blended or fully online. The other thing that's quite important to mention is that the certificate is the same as part 1 of our Master of Contemporary Education. So the overall Masters is in 3 parts, and the first part is the first 60 credits. If you wish, you can actually enroll for the Masters from the very beginning of those 3 parts, but you'll be studying exactly the same things as the students who just enroll for the certificate. So it doesn't make any difference to what you study in part 1, but if you've already decided that perhaps you want to do Masters, you can enroll from the beginning. Otherwise, you can do the certificate and you can choose to go on to the parts 2 and 3 of the Masters later and do the remaining 120 credits. That, unlike the certificate, which at the moment is only part-time, you get an option there. You can study part-time, but it's also possible to study full-time. And it's probably worth mentioning that those students who do study full-time in general manage to do it because they successfully apply for a scholarship from the Ministry of Education, one of the Teach NZ scholarships, and we have separate sessions about those as we go through. The main thing we're going to talk about today, though, is this one in the middle, Postgraduate Certificate in Digital and Collaborative Learning. But if you want to ask questions about the others, then please do so as we go through. I think that's all I need to say about that one. So the other thing that's really, really important, of course, is how do I pay for this qualification if I want to sign up for it? For this upcoming intake, we've got a special scholarship available just for the August intake, which is pretty much a full scholarship. So that means that you only have to pay the administration fee to actually enroll in this intake. It's only available for the August intake. The applications for these scholarships close in mid-July. So if you want to take advantage of this, it is a bit of a one-off in the sense that it is just for this intake. So that's something that's worth bearing in mind. There are limited numbers of these scholarships, but there's a good number of them. So if you are applying now, then you shouldn't have any problem getting one of these scholarships. Okay, I think that's.
And that's for New Zealand registered teachers.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, so you have to be that. Do we have, since Maisen is here, do we have any international? Joanna, does that look like a Kiwi classroom behind you? Is that in New Zealand? Yeah. Yeah. Flora, we can't see you, but then
Auckland classroom.
Auckland classroom, yeah. So you would qualify probably then for the Future of Education Scholarship. Flora?
Yes, sure. I'm here. My camera isn't working at this stage. I'm not sure why. But I'm actually, you know what, I'm actually in the middle of the wall at the same time. So I've just got a few things I've got to prepare before school camp.
Oh, good. Oh, good. But school camp in New Zealand?
Yeah, in New Zealand, in Auckland, which we're going next week on Tuesday. So I just didn't want you guys to see the background as well. Thank goodness my camera is not quite working at this stage.
Good, but there's some, is there anything, Maisen, that you want to say to international if they are viewing the recording, for example?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So for what we've just mentioned about the postgraduate certificate, in the yellow box, within the yellow box, there are prices for people who are coming to study in New Zealand as well as studying offshore. And as Dr. Dave mentioned about, actually the postgraduate certificate is part one of the entire master's. So basically for the prices within the blue box actually also include this certificate plus part 2 and part 3 of the master's program.
And the entry requirements are slightly different.
For the first 2 points, actually it's the same as domestic student. Yeah. But for the English language proficiency, they need to have at least 6.5 of IELTS.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dave, is there something you want to continue with another beautiful graph?
Oh, is this still me? Yes, okay. Yes. I can talk to this one as well. So we keep redoing the infographic in an attempt to make it as clear as possible. I'm not sure we ever quite get there, but this is meant to represent to you in a simple way what the overall journey looks like as you go through the program. So if I go down from the top, so the first row says course. So you can see there's actually 2 courses in the certificate. They're both 30 credit courses and they go one after the other. So the first one's got the long and confusing title of Digital and Collaborative Transformation in Learning and Leadership, and we tend to call that one Transformation for short. And the second one is called Leading Research-Informed Innovation in Practice, and we call that Innovation for short. The first one is a precondition for the second one, so you do have to finish the first course before you can enroll in the second. That actually gives us a bit of an opportunity, though. There's a plus side to this, which means that students who might start embarking on the first course and need a bit longer and can't progress straight away, there's absolutely no problem with taking a bit of a break and coming back in the next intake. So there's a bit of an advantage into splitting it up into these 2 blocks. For some students who kind of get a bit overwhelmed maybe and then just want to come back later, that works for some students. So there's the 2 courses. They're both the same size. The number of weeks is slightly different because we tack on a break between the 2 courses. So you'll notice that we have a bit of a study break between the 2, and then the whole thing is about 37 weeks long. So the pink things are where we do the teaching, and the only reason they're broken up is so you can see where the blocks fall. So I mentioned the blocks are where you can come in face-to-face if you want to. We do online blocks. We try and cover the same material, but obviously the experience is a little bit different. So you can see that the first 6 weeks are online learning. Week 7, we have a block, and then the remainder of that course is online. Slightly different layout for the second course. We actually kick it off with a face-to-face block, and then we move on to weekly online learning. We used to do the first block earlier, but we discovered it was all a bit overwhelming to kind of kick off the course and try and get up to speed with everything and do the big block thing. It was all a bit much. So we found moving it back to week 7 sort of in the middle, more or less, works quite nicely now. You'll see that there are 4 orange boxes. These are the 4 assessments. So each of the 2 courses have 2 assessments. And they're more or less evenly spaced, so week 8 and week 16 in each of those 2 courses. The first assessment in each of those courses can be done collaboratively if you wish, and the other 2 are done individually. And they're very much based on your practice. So they're not, write an essay about X. They're much more about you doing things in your practice, reflecting on those things, and finding something useful in the activities that you do. So that's pretty much the shape of it. Because you're looking at currently at the August intake, there is obviously a Christmas New Year break of 3 weeks that appears sort of quite near the beginning of the second course. Anything else I should say? I think that's probably it.
No, since you already talked like my slide thing, so
Oh,
that's
I'm very
really good.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, I haven't mentioned all of those things at all. Not at all.
No, just the same summary. Like
the
Dave
assessment.
mentioned the word overwhelming many times. And it's like we try to make it so that it's not overwhelming. So yes, it happens in your practice. You reflect, you do things in your practice. That's how we justify to NZQA that you are studying while you are working. You come to the weekly session, you do the flip prep before that, could be watch a video, do something like that to prepare for the discussions that we have during the session. And then what people tend to do, and I'm checking if Sarah and Elsie are kind of nodding or not, at least smiling a little bit. Perhaps what they did do is that every week you kind of tend to try those things in your practice. So we kind of calculate that a lot of that learning happens in your practice. We introduce you something, we put you to think about something, you can't help it, but next week that's something that you are thinking about in your practice, or the next day straight away. And yes, half of the assessments are individual, half of those are collaborative. If you have people that are coming from the same school that sign up for August as well, you could do those together. Sarah is nodding for that, since that's what you did. Yes, there were 2 of you, wasn't that so?
Yep, 2 of us from the same school, and we joined up for AS.
Yeah. And that was really that was an easy collaboration, but it was nice since it was kind of always school specific things that you were doing.
Very easy collaboration, and having somebody after each weekly session to discuss and what did you think about that point, or that was really handy as well.
Beautiful. On the other hand, you might then, if you don't have people from the same school, we'll introduce you to people. So I think that's what happened to you, Elsie. You collaborated with people that you didn't know beforehand. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I had the other 3 that was in our group were all from Auckland, and I was the sole Waikato Chiefs down here in Hamilton.
And the on purpose with sometimes could be that you teach primary and you collaborate with someone in secondary and you talk about actually same themes, and it's amazing what we can learn from each other. But could be that you want to pair up with someone who's teaching a similar subject in a similar setting and so on. Could be either or. And there's 2 collaborative assignment. Could be that you collaborate with someone else on the first one and then someone completely different on the next assignment too. And those dates, key dates of the things that were on that infographic, these would be it for August. So we'll officially kick off on the 14th of August. That's the Monday. We'll have the week 1 sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. So you can each week, you can choose if you come to the Wednesday session or if you come to the Thursday session. Could be that some week it's Wednesday, some week it's Thursday. We are also running week 0 sessions, kind of getting to know each other 1 week before. So we are likely to do that for the August intake. And then there's those 2 blocks. So if you want to kind of look at and put those to your calendar already now, you can do that. Those fall to school holidays. Isn't that so, Dave, with this intake?
Yes,
so.
They should align with the holidays this time around. Yes.
Yes, so if you are in Auckland and if you want to come to that face-to-face, it sounds like, yes, it's a full day, but it is during a school holiday. And Manaki Fono is our Maori and Pacifica students support. Did you, Elsie, go to Manaki Fono?
I think I made it to 1, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so Manakifono, actually what we are doing for August intake is we're even widening it so that we used to have just for this program Manakifono, but we'll probably combine for the next one so that it's all master students in the same one. And those are run by our Po Arahi and Po Tautua, so Te Mihinga and Rose are there to run those. The Mihinga and Rose also have their own study group, so that's one of the reasons. Now that we've had those, people haven't come to Manakifono as much, since, for example, you got help from Rose, Elsie, wasn't it? So you were in Rose's, yeah, beautiful Ohu. So these are additional support sessions. So every other Monday, we'll have one. You can join if you want to, especially if you have anything on your mind relating to assessments in particular that you need some clarification, you need some help for that. There's one of us facilitators is always kind of running one of the Ohus, so you have that person as your go-to person to ask any support and help. Of course, we are all there to support you, but then it's nice to know that one email to send things to. And we try to allocate those that, for example, have primary school teachers and secondary school teachers in one, even if we know that there's some beautiful things come from the collaboration. And learning management system is there to support you, so you can do things asynchronously. If you can't come to the session on one of the weeks, you'll view the recording. I don't know, what would you say, Sarah and Elsie, what's the difference between coming a session and viewing the recording? I know some teachers say that it's annoying when it's so amazing to talk with others during the session and then you miss that.
I like how, yes, even if you're in the part of the session, there are moments that you might have missed out. And I have gone back to some of the recordings and just to help me with the embedding of my own understanding and what I have absorbed. And it's been very helpful actually to know that, okay, I think I missed something, especially when I was doing my assessments. I was like, maybe I missed something, and then I go back and watch the recordings. So that was most helpful. I don't know if Sarah had the same.
Yeah, tautoko there, Elsie. It was handy having those recordings there, but not having the breakout time. That was the time in the live shows, the live meetings that you got some real depth of kōrero, able to have a chat and, you know, those challenges with colleagues from around the country. But also, like Elsie, going back and seeing those recordings again, really handy to watch for assignments, or if you were away or if you were sick, really handy to come back and watch those.
If the word assessment gets you like hard jumping, there is just only 4. If you talk with someone who's done the program like 5 or 7 or 8 years ago, there were way more than 4. And one of the changes is that Elsie and Sarah, your intake, you already had competency based, didn't you? Did you? Yes. So it's only pass or it's not yet competent. Not yet competent meaning that we say that you need to add a bit more to these criteria so that you can show the competency. So we were just looking at the student feedback on that, and there's many that said that it's so much easier. Like, we tend to be perfectionists with teachers. There's many that still we can't hear. They still are overachievers with their assessments. But the main thing is to learn something meaningful and realize that, all right, this is enough. You can't kind of have the 98% in your mind, since you know that it's either competent or not yet competent. So hopefully it helps. But you'll get access to the learning management systems, all the materials and so on, perhaps a couple of weeks before we kick off, and you always kind of see the following week we open it the previous week, so that you get to do the flip preparations, think about things before you come to the session, and yes, can go back to any of those weeks, any of the recordings and so on. What else is there, Elsie? Sarah, who wants to go first? What would you like to share about the learning journey?
Oh, this is the awkward pause when nobody wants to say anything or who goes first.
And in Zoom, it's even longer than face to face. Yeah.
From beginning to end, I felt myself challenged, challenged in my own pedagogy, challenged in changing my practice in my classroom. Like was mentioned before about having you doing your lessons on, say, the Wednesday or Thursday night, and then exactly the following day or the following week, next time you have your class, you're like, how can I change this lesson to fit for a digital environment or for a collaborative environment? How can I change my program to be more inclusive or integrated of those pedagogies as well, which I thought, and it's changed the way I've been teaching this year. The kids are more engaged, and all those things, those great things, learning the collaborations, learning the problem solving, all of those skills that come with digital tech as well. Being able to have a chat to practitioners from all levels. We had early childhood right through to our high school kaiako, which was fantastic to see how it can, the concepts that we're talking about can be altered from, you know, the little babies right through to our big kids, and it doesn't take a lot to actually differentiate those ideologies or kaupapa. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was great. Yeah, still using all those skills and thoughts and thinking now. So yeah.
Yeah, 100% tautoko what Sarah said as well, because that's exactly what it was. And I guess the key thing for me, what I really enjoyed about the course was the collaboration. And I know for myself, I love collaborating in my own learning. And I loved the online space that we were in, even when we go into our break rooms, and the collegiality. Kaiako to kaiako, and our experiences that we were sharing, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by the program as a whole. I was one of those really nervous ones because I had been out of tertiary education for 20 years, and then I was like going, oh my heka, now what have I done? My first time, and then having the collaboration, working with on our first assessment, was a real eye-opener. That the sharing of the knowledge actually empowered my own understandings as well. And I really liked the presentation and the conversations that we had, and I like how it made sense. And if it didn't make sense, I liked that I was comfortable with asking questions openly there and then, even if they didn't make sense to David. And I remember asking some kind of question, and I was like going, Elsie, in my head, I was thinking, that question didn't even make sense. And David so politely just, yes. And I was like, that didn't make sense. But that's what I love, that you're in an online environment where you are comfortable enough to share. And Sarah could probably say there were times when we'll go into the breakout rooms and we'll go, what are we supposed to be doing again? And we'll sit there and we're like, Sarah, you're supposed to know the answer. But it was really cool that you had those opportunities where you, in an environment where you, in those breakout areas where you felt comfortable, that everyone was in the same boat. We're all on this learning journey together, and we were definitely 100% there to tautoko each other to ensure that our thinking was on the right track. But yeah, I loved the course. I'm a bit biased to have me on here, to be honest.
What I was thinking while I was listening to you, both of you were awesome already before the program. That's why it's always like, it's amazing to see that you bring yourself, all that's like, of course, like teachers have heaps of knowledge, and you bring that, and then we'll look at how can we do even better together. So
one of the big things that I was hesitant of was the Zoom. Obviously with collaboration, you think, collaboration is best face-to-face, but like Elsie was saying there, and the collaboration in those breakout spaces where you could actually sit and go, Right, can you clarify that for me? This is what I picked up. Or hey, I really was actually just going to make sure my spuds weren't boiling over. Can you catch me up? So the collaboration online really surprised me, and how effectively you guys as Academy X have been running that and picked that up, which has been an awesome thing. So we can do it from all over the country.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I guess one of the things while listening to you also made me think that it's the many times, like, since you get to be on that student seat, you realize that how, like, we don't get to do that as teachers that much. So that seat already, even if it is all about ACO, but still that kind of, yeah, opens our eyes. Like, why students feel like, oh, should I know what I should be? Yeah, I should know what I do. What should I do here? And you understand them way better when they are off task. All of a sudden. What would you like to ask? Is there anything in particular? Anyone? Have you, Sarah and Elsie, already signed up for masters? Yes, you have. Not yet. Sarah is taking, no, not yet. Yeah.
Not yet. I've just taken on a new role at school, so I'm just going to put that on pause and come back to it.
Beautiful. That's a brilliant outcome also, not just masters, a new role. Yeah. Goodbye.
Come on, Sarah, you know I got you.
I know that everybody who we've been through this journey through, I'll have a different crew, and at least I know you guys already. And Elsie, you've got those breakout tasks ready to go.
I did have a question actually. Do you have a bit of a breakdown of what's involved more in the learning and the assessments, just to know what the workload's like? Because someone like myself, I have a few roles, so I have to make sure that if I take on this kind of opportunity, then it has to be achievable within what my responsibilities already are. Because I'm like so I run a subject and assist in as head of faculty for another and that sort of stuff. And I just couldn't find any like details on any specifics of what was done in the learning and assessing.
Thought I'll put back that there's the 4 which are kind of, yeah, broken out. I don't know, Sarah and Elsie, how would you describe from a student point of view? So two of the individual are more reflective. You reflect onto your own practice. So those exact things that you do, Joanna, in your practice, so that you look at those things and think about how could you do those better. And then even the collaborative ones, you can plan things as part of the assessments for your practice.
What I did, because I was at LEC the second half of last year, I actually had a lot of time. So I kind of worked some of it into my work hours. However, when I was in the deputy principal role last term, it was a real reality check for me in regards to time. So I actually set aside an hour to 2 hours. So what I did is I maybe had an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening for if I had any readings or to go over the flip prep stuff. And then I used to do a couple of hours on a Saturday morning just to catch up on anything. Primarily, most of my time would go into the assessment as I was preparing my assessment. So I would say roughly about anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a week set aside for the program. And then maybe a couple of hours on the Saturday if need be. But most of the time I didn't need the Saturday hours. But that's how I managed my time. Sarah might have had a better version of that.
I don't know if it was a better version. I just squeezed it in. I'm a head of faculty as well. I've got a lead role in that. And it was just a matter of setting that time aside, actually dedicating that time to it. Most of my flip prep was done the afternoon or the evening before. So I would do Thursday after school Zoom, and I would set aside an hour or two, depending on how much flip prep was ready to go on the Wednesday. And then when it came to this assessments, I'd sort of do a little bit often because, like Mela had said before, 2 of them were reflective and you're able to put them into your own practice. So the reflective times I was able to just add little bits after each Zoom meeting that linked in. So if we were talking about collaborative learning, then I'd go back and think, right, how have I done collaborative learning in my classroom? What am I going to do next? So it was just little bits and often rather than massive chunks. But it's manageable. It's definitely manageable, and the team understand if you're unable to get something done on time, like an assessment on this specific date. Things happen, and the team are really understanding.
And I really liked how the lectures match the questions. So, for example, we had Darcy, and she'll say, "Oh, if whatever topic she was covering, she'll say, oh, this matches up with some of the questions in the assessment." And so, yeah, I used to always go back and revisit those recordings as well. Yeah.
It helps. I can show a quickly here. If I'll open the, this is, for example, first assignment. If it helps, Joanna, that you realize that the first assignment is 12 to 15-minute long video. So this is the one that you get to do with others. So you're not even doing that yourself. And if you start to record, this video is quite a long one already. If you start to record 12 to 15-minute long video, it's actually not that long. Yeah, Sarah, yeah. You realize that, gosh, you need to summarize and you don't even do that together. And that's already one assessment done. So it's more the collaboration and discussions that you have while you're thinking like, all right, what should we put into that video? That's where the learning happens. And it's a summary of that you then share with us. And it's the same here, one video that you do collaboratively. For example, recording in Zoom by chatting with each other. Could be that. But there's always an option. We kind of push you to do a video just because it is a really important and useful skill. And we do talk about how to make videos, how to edit videos. That's all part of the learning also. There's different ways of doing that. But then after that, you can choose if you want. If you prefer doing written ones, you can do, but then you can also keep on doing videos if you find that easier to talk to the camera or do different types of videos. So hopefully that helps a little. We know teachers we are time poor, but then so willing to learn. So we try to kind of balance that through these years, try to do it better and better. And yes, it is lovely to hear. Thanks, Sarah and Elsie, all the amazing things you said.
Thank you. That does help for me. I'm a bit like I like to know specifics to know where the where the attention's going to go, and time poor. I just didn't find like say a more detailed syllabus or anything when I did a quick search, so it's helpful to get a better idea. So thank you for sharing that.
Cool. Could be that this slide that Dave made after one of the info sessions could be one thing that you're interested also based on your question. Yes. So what would the topics be? This one, for example, doesn't have AI, even if we changed one of the weeks to actually focus on that. So it always changes. Every intake, there's slightly different things that come up, but these are pretty much it. There's a big variety, and each week there's a slightly different topic. Some of those we come back to later on, but then all the way until the end, we look at education from a different point of view each week, and always try to use. We want to practice as we preach, so we use technology as part of the learning. So we do that during the sessions also, so that it kind of happens at the same time. Any other questions?
I have one, if you don't mind. Excuse the massive noise at the back. I've actually message you via chat. I just wanted to know, do you have a provision or an opportunity for children, for your students to finish the course earlier than what you've scheduled?
Did you want me to answer that one?
Yes. I was just kind of, you understood. Yeah. I don't think
not really. But having said that, the assessments are available early. But the thing is, they still wouldn't be processed. It would be possible for you to do the work early. Although having said that, we kind of release it step by step. So although the assessments are visible, the content that leads and supports that assessment isn't all available at the same time. And even if you finish the work, we still couldn't finalize the assessment and the grades until we did everybody's. So I think the answer is probably, because I'm talking around in circles, probably no. Did you have a particular reason in mind for asking that question?
Could be even too personal. Sometimes there's like people move to a different country, for example, and they continue studying from there, so you can study remotely, or sometimes it's maternity leave or something that comes in, and then you can continue later.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering, that there is a kind of an option to do things in a different time scale, which is a little bit different. So I mentioned earlier we've got a micro-credential. So the micro-credential is self-study at your own pace, and all of the material is available at the beginning. As I mentioned before, that particular micro-credential is only 15 credits. We have another micro-credential, which is called Leading Beyond Sustainability, which again can be studied at your own speed, just online. And that, together with the other micro-credential, can be cross-credited against the first course in the certificate. So you can kind of do those 30 credits in your own, sorry, that 30 credits you could do in your own time at your own speed. But you still would have to pick up the second course in the normal schedule. So if it was about flexibility, that might be an option. In terms of like speed of finishing, it probably wouldn't help. In fact, it might actually make it a bit more complicated. But if it was the sort of flexibility thing you were looking for, then that's a possibility through the micro-credentials.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, no worries.
Good. But yeah, you can flick us a message if there's like something specific. We can try to see if there's a way. Yeah. Cool. How to apply, when you go to our academyex.com, you find the course, Postgraduate Certificate in Digital and Collaborative Learning, and apply now. When you start the application process, yes, it will show the full amount there, and you just do the whole application process. After you have done that, you can then go and apply for the scholarship. That would be the preferred way or order of doing that. When you go to our scholarship page, there's apply for scholarship. And when you look at there's just a short form like that where you need to kind of reason why do you want that scholarship, and why are you a good applicant? I think you are. Every teacher is. So then future of education, when you choose that from the drop down, that would leave just the $100 administration fee for the August intake. I wonder if there's anything. There's signing up for when you apply for the program itself, it kind of says, it asks you to sign in, for example, Google or Facebook, or create your account, just so that you can go back to that. You can start the application and then you can go back if there's something that it asks you to do that you don't yet have all the information. So should be easy like that. Both of those happen fully online, the applications. And Lisa is there. If you have any questions after this, is there anything on your mind, Lisa, that we haven't yet said that you'd like to add?
Ka pai, Mila. Just that we're all here to help you, and if you have any questions, please reach out. We do have schools doing the program together. It makes powerful change. I think life is better with others, so if you're considering it, reach out to your colleague and ask them if they'll join you on the journey. Kia ora.
Good. We haven't really been advertising the scholarship that much, and it's one of the best scholarships in a long time. So that's, yeah, hopefully that'll help to make sure that your peers are joining also. And I did say that before we start in August that we'll do the week 0. The plan right now is to run those at the same time as we then run the weekly sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have those sessions then. And then what we did for this intake that started in March for the first time, we did face-to-face meet and greet on week 1. So we'll do that perhaps also again on Saturday on that week 1, if it's kind of nice to come and see each other at our headquarters in Auckland. If you are Auckland based, then that's it. Did you, Elsie, did you come any of the face-to-face things, or did you go there?
I opted for it to happen, but it never happened.
Yeah, since your intake was that, yes, which is
yes,
that was yeah.
But
Yep.
I did say yes to it, but I think we had so many from the South Island, didn't we, in our intake, Sarah? So so it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So with you, it's the September graduation. Hopefully, then we'll
fingers
get
crossed.
to dance.
Yeah.
Yes, that has been booked already. So we'll get to have graduation ceremony. Beautiful. If that's it, if there's no other questions, I'll check chat. Nothing in the chat. Thank you for joining, especially Sarah and Elsie. Thank you for being here. That's priceless to hear it from you, I think. Based on Joanna's smile, yes, that's the best way. We can tell anyone, but if they are nodding and saying kind of yes, that's what it was like, that helps way more. Hopefully we'll see you in August, and yes, Elsie and Sarah will see you in September, celebrating that. Kara kia whakakapi. Ka whakairia te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara. Kia turuki whakataha ai, kia turuki whakataha ai. Haumie, huie, tai.
Kai kia.
Pomarie.
Ka kite.
Almost time to go to sleep.
Kia ora.
Ka kite. You need to go home first, you guys who are, yes, home time. Good.
Fun. Thanks.
Bye, thank you.
Love to see you again.
Thank you.